Alright guys, so now we're going to go over some examples of simplifying absolute value expressions. So let's start with example 1. If I'm given something like this, how would I simplify that? Well, I would do each of these absolute values first separately. I treat them like brackets. So the absolute value of -7 is just 7. And then 1 minus 9 is -8. And the absolute value of -8 is just 8. So the answer to this question is 15. What if I'm giving something like the absolute value of -7? Well, the negative we write again, and what would the absolute value of -7 become? Well, it would just become +7. So we'll put that in brackets and get rid of the absolute values. And now there's like a -1 in front here, so when we distribute it inside the bracket, we end up getting -7. Let's do another one. The absolute value of -18 minus 6 over -2 minus 4 absolute value. So -18 minus 6 is -24, and -2 minus 4 is -6. The absolute value of -24 rather, is 24, and the absolute value of -6 is 6. So our final answer ends up being just 4. Example 4. Let's try a bit of a harder one this time. So let's have absolute value, the absolute value of -20 minus 13 over -3 plus the absolute value of 2 minus 6 squared. So this one's a little bit more complex. And by the way, these are absolute values here. These are not ones, just in case you get confused. So let's work with this big absolute value first. And just as you would treat a bracket, you would work with the most inner brackets that you can. So I'm going to simplify this absolute value here. So everything else I will rewrite. -20 minus 13, the absolute value of that is -33, and divided by -3, nothing happens there. This absolute value we can simplify. 2 minus 6 is -4, and we will be squaring that. So moving along, the absolute value of -33 just becomes +33. Over -3 absolute value plus the absolute value of -4 ends up being just +4. We will put a bracket around the +4 and we will square it. 33 divided by -3 is -11 plus 4 squared is 16. The absolute value of -11 just ends up being +11. Let's put a bracket there because we have the negative in front of it, plus 16. Now when we distributed this -1 in front to the bracket, we end up getting -11 plus 16. -11 plus 16 ends up being 5. So the final answer for this whole expression was 5.